In today's lesson, we're going to have a look at calculating the averages and range of a set of listed data. It's really important that we can calculate each of these, as we can use them to compare two or more sets of data and see which one's better. There are three types of averages. The first one is your mean, which is a fair share of all the data. To calculate it, you add up all the numbers and divide by how many numbers there were in total. The second is your mode, which is the most common number. You simply find which number appears the most in a dataset. And your final average is your median. It's the middle number when you put the values in order. So the first thing you need to do is order your numbers and then find the one that's exactly in the middle. If you end up with two numbers in the middle, you simply take the midpoint of these two numbers. Finally, we have the range. The range is not an average but a measure of the spread of data. To calculate the range, you find the difference between the largest and smallest number in your dataset. There is a brief example of each of these in the table, so please pause the video now if you want to have a quick look at each of them. So what we're going to do is have a look at an example of how we calculate the mode, median, mean and range and compare two sets of data. In this example, it says a manager of a football team is trying to decide which striker to buy for his club. The data below shows the goals scored for each player. Calculate the mode, median, mean and range for each player and then compare this data to decide which player the manager should buy. So firstly, let's calculate each average and range for both players. Here's the data for player 1. The first thing I'd do to answer this question is to put this data in order of size. This is definitely going to be useful for the median, however it can help us with the mode and range as well. So putting this in order, we have 0, 0 and another 0, 1, 2, 4 and then 7 at the end. Firstly, calculating the mode, we need to find the number that appears most commonly in that list. By ordering the data at the start, you will have grouped all the numbers that are the same together, so I can see at the very start that there's 3 zeros and therefore that is the mode of this set of data. The median is the middle number, so ticking off from both sides I can work my way into the middle. I can see in the middle I have the value 1, so therefore my median is 1. To calculate my mean, I need to add up all of the data and then divide by however many numbers there were. So I need to start off by doing 0, add 0, add 0, add 1, add 2, add 4, add 7. I know that 1 add 2 is 3, add 4 is 7, add another 7 will give me a total of 14. I then need to divide this by however many numbers there were. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 14 divided by 7 gives me a mean of 2. Lastly, to calculate the range, I need to take the biggest number and subtract the smallest number from it. Again, because I've ordered the data, I can see very easily that at one end I've got my largest number, which is 7, and I want to take away from the other end the 0, which is my smallest value. 7 take away 0 is 7, and therefore I can say that my range is also 7. I can now do the same thing for player 2. So firstly, I'm going to put the data in order of size. So we've got 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and then 4 at the end. In this example, I have two numbers that appear twice, and therefore I can say that the mode is both 2 and 3. When you have a situation like this, it's called bimodal because there's two modes. If each number had appeared exactly once, we would have to say that there's no mode. You can only say that there's more than one mode if each number appears several times in the list of data. To calculate the median, I need to work to the middle, so ticking from each side. I can see that I've got 2 and 3 in the middle, so I need to take the value that is the midpoint between 2 and 3. That would be 2.5. For my mean, I need to add up all the data, so that would be 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. 1 add 2 is 3, add 2 is 5, add 3 is 8, add another 3 is 11, add 4 is 15. I then need to divide this by how many numbers there are, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that 15 divided by 6 is 2.5, and therefore I can say that my mean is also 2.5. Lastly, for the range, I need to subtract the biggest number from the smallest, so that's 4, subtract 1, and that gives me a range of 3. Here is a summary of the averages and range that we worked out for each player. We can use these to help us compare which player would be better to buy. Firstly, looking at the averages, we can say that player 2 has a higher mode, median and mean. This means that each average is suggesting that player 2 scores more goals than player 1. We can also look at the range. We can say that player 2 is more consistent as their range is only 3, whereas player 1 has a range of 7, which shows a lot of variance in their performance. A lot of the time, having a smaller range is better because it implies that the data is more consistent, but obviously this depends on the context of your question. So to summarise, everything suggests that the manager should buy player 2 as they are the better striker. There are, however, some factors that you need to consider when you're comparing your data. Firstly, if we had more data, this usually provides more reliable results. Analysing players over a whole season instead of just a few games might show a different picture. Likewise, the sets of data that we looked at was biased towards goals scored. If we looked at other statistics, it might display different desirable traits that are not linked to goal scoring. It could be that in the games where player 1 didn't score, that they actually provided lots of assists to goals to other players. For our sets of data, each average pointed to the fact that player 2 was better at goal scoring, however this might not always be the case. Each average has its advantages and disadvantages, and sometimes you might need to consider which average best represents the data, and that's what we're going to have a look at now. Here is a summary of the advantages and disadvantages of each average. You might want to pause the video now and have a quick look over each of them. So, the mean is good because it uses all of the data to find an answer. If, however, your dataset has very large or very small numbers, this can distort the answer and make it unreliable. If this is the case, then the median would be a better average to use. Because the median looks at the middle value, it ignores very big and very small values at either end, so it doesn't affect that average. If, however, you have a really large set of data, calculating the median can take a very long time to do. The mode is a good average because it looks at the most popular outcome. It's also the only average that can be used when the data is not numerical. So if, for example, we're looking at the favourite colour in a group of students, we could say that the mode is either blue or red or a different colour, and it doesn't have to be a number. There are, however, 3 main disadvantages of using the mode. Firstly, you might end up with more than one mode. There also may be no mode at all, and that's if none of the data is the same. And lastly, the mode doesn't always accurately represent the data, although it does show you which one is most popular. So what I'd like you to do is complete the 3 tasks that I've set for you on MyMaths. That is mean and mode, median and range, and then all averages. Remember that the initial login to MyMaths is the school login, that's Uppingham and Acute, and then you need to log into your portal. If you've forgotten your details, they're attached to Show My Homework in the Resources to Help You section. You should aim to get at least 70% on each of these tasks to demonstrate that you've fully understood each average and range. If you do need to improve your scores but the tasks have disappeared from your homework list, you can find them again using the Results tab on the left side when logged into your portal. If you are struggling to complete some of the work from today's lesson, then please do not hesitate to get in touch via comment on Show My Homework. I'll try to make myself as available as possible and get a reply to you as quickly as I can. If the issue requires a little bit more input from myself, I might ask to arrange a time to meet on Teams where I can give you some personalised help with that specific problem.